This is Rock and Roll English. Real people, real English. Here's your host, Martin Johnston.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Rock and Roll English. Episode number 176, baby. Oh yeah. In today's episode, I have a very special guest for you. Yes, that is right. I speak to Harry from Real English with Real Teachers. You may already know him. His YouTube channel is much more famous than this podcast. But if you don't, you are in for a treat, baby. And there is some nice rock and roll vocabulary immediately. If you're in for a treat, you are going to have a good time because Harry and his friend Charlie do the same kind of thing as Rock and Roll English, giving you real English in a more entertaining way, let's say. They obviously make videos because they have faces for videos, whilst I have a face for the radio, as people like to say. And as a special present on this special day, I am giving the transcript of the episode to everyone because obviously the transcript is normally only for Rock and Roll English family members, but for today's episode, because someone special is here, it's like when you have someone special at your house and you use the special plates. We're doing the same thing here, so you can go to rockandrollenglish.com/episode 176 and download the transcript there. But if you do want a transcript every day with a podcast every day, go to rockandrollenglish.com/family. Oh, and one more thing. In today's episode, normally, obviously, we do rock and roll English and we stop when there is some nice rock and roll English. It's a bit more difficult to do that when someone else is on the podcast, although this does happen in the episode today. But a few times I forgot because I got a bit carried away in the conversation and I was having fun and I just forgot. So I've put this noise just after some rock and roll English is used. So pay attention to that, and that's what we would talk about at the end. And speaking of the end, it's probably about time we ended this introduction. Sorry for making you listen to me for a bit longer than normal. Here is the conversation. I will speak to you at the end. In the meantime, happy listening. So, hello Harry, and welcome to Rock and Roll English.
Hello, Martin. Lovely to be here. I'm a true rock and roll English fan. So thank you.
It's lovely to have you. Finally, we have met. We almost met in London quite recently, didn't we? Almost. We were about, I don't know, a mile apart, 2 miles apart.
Yeah. It was amazing. I had my live location on, so I could actually, well, you could see where I was. I think you shared yours, and you were in a pub. And it was very exciting knowing exactly where you were. Yeah, I was standing in the rain in St. James's Park, considering coming towards you. And I thought, I want to meet him, but I don't want to meet him that much. I'm probably going to just stand under this tree for a bit longer.
Well, the tree definitely sounds more interesting than me. I'm sure you had a great conversation with that tree. Yeah. Anyway, as I mentioned in the introduction, Harry is from Real English with Real Teachers. Notice there the plural of teachers because there are two of you, aren't there? So there's you, Harry, and your partner in crime, Charlie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in crime, not in the bed. Yeah, we are partners, professional partners, and he is in Australia. Yeah, but he's originally from England. Hence Real English. He's British. He's from Surrey, and we met at uni.
Okay. Oh, you met at uni. That was my next question. Where did you meet?
Is that another question from your doc, your Google Doc? Is that the plan out of the window now?
Lovely rock and roll vocabulary there, out of the window, like forgotten about. Yeah, I mentioned to Harry before that I have a very detailed Word document with about 5 things written on it. That's one of them, as you said, out the window. So, God, what are we going to do now? Okay, so you met at university. Okay, and so tell me about when you started Real English with Real Teachers. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention there is this Real English thing. We love that. I've got that as well. The beginning of the episode, I paid some American guy to do this intro, and he says real English, real people. I think And no one can even understand him. I've had so many messages of saying, what does that guy say? And I fucking paid him to do that, bastard.
I assumed that was just you putting on a bad American accent, because he's got it's a weird accent. It's like, it's really cheesy, which is obviously what you were going for. But like, I thought that was just you putting on an American accent. Is it not then? You paid that. How much did you pay him?
Oh God, at least €50 for just to say that. And no one understands him. I have to text people. I get messages, and people would say, "What does this guy say?" And I say, "Well, it's supposed to be real English, real people, but fucking can't understand anything."
That's ridiculous. I would have done that for like a tenner or less. I would have done it for a fiver on Fiverr.com.
If only I had known. In fact, that Fiverr.com, that's a website where things cost like $5, is actually where I found him. And then it was like, for $5, I'll give you one word. And then like, I think he was charging me by the word.
Oh, so you bought 10 words for €50.
I think so. And you can't understand any of those words. Anyway, that's enough about my American friend. Tell us about how and when you started Real English with Real Teachers.
Yeah, so I had just done my first year of like real teaching in Spain. I say real teaching because before that I'd done some voluntary English teaching in Cambodia.
Such a good Samaritan. Look at you're making me feel bad now just doing volunteer work in Cambodia. Wow, you're such a good person, Harry.
Yeah. Well, it's like I'm basically doing that as well now because we don't make much money off the YouTube videos. That's basically voluntary. So I'm just a charitable man. In Cambodia, I did one proper voluntary job, 2 weeks in a little village. Like, it was an amazing experience. Like, really poor kids, and I was teaching them every day. I felt amazing about myself, as you can imagine. But before that, I worked in an international school in Cambodia again, in Siem Reap. And I was teaching Korean students, spoilt Korean kids who lived in Cambodia, and a handful of emerging middle class Cambodian children. And that wasn't voluntary. I was paid $150 a month for that. So I was paid a pittance, but it was, I was being paid. So I'm not that good a person.
Some nice rock and roll vocabulary there as well, being paid a pittance, like not very much. But I was thinking for $150, you could get like 3 intros from my American friend. So, you could spend all your money on that.
Yeah, I know. I wish I had. I could have got back and started Real English off with that. But you asked how I got into it. I did a year of teaching in Spain, worked for an academy, which
What kind of academy? English academy? What?
Yeah. It's an English school basically, but an academy in that it was just kind of it was teaching extracurricular English to adults and children in a village in Spain. I was in the north, in the Basque Country, and it was good fun. But I got back, and my best friend Charlie was doing online teaching, and the whole time when I was working in Spain, I was working like ridiculous hours. I was starting at like 8 a.m, finishing at like 9-10 p.m. sometimes. So I hated my life. I really moved.
I'm laughing. Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing at the fact that you hated your life. That's a serious thing.
Yeah. I fell into a deep depression, Martin. And so I got back, and he was saying like, "Why don't you just work for yourself?" And I thought that's a great idea, Charlie. But how will I find students? And then we thought, let's start a podcast. So we did one episode, which was supposed to be a podcast. We weren't showing our faces, and we put it on YouTube. And then I thought, well, this might be more entertaining if we put our face on it as well. So we did. We just met up and we recorded on Zoom, I think, and we just made a little video, chopped it up, put it on YouTube, and we got about 50 views, and we thought, nice. people like this, and a couple of thumbs up, and I thought, this is great. And then people started asking for lessons, so it was mainly a way to just get us to the end of the month to make ends meet or whatever.
Yeah, so some nice rock and roll vocabulary as well. To make ends meet, to earn just enough money to live on. Yes, well, I feel your pain there. I also just about make ends meet here. Some of the videos I've seen are absolutely brilliant. Like the work that you put into them, like the editing, the filming, the idea. So well done for that. One thing I particularly want to ask you is I've seen many videos actually where you just interview like random people on the street. Basically, I've seen some in London. Talk me through that. So talk me through that. Talk to me about how you do that, because I've tried that before, and everyone just thought I was a completely crazy person. I waited there and I tried to talk to about 20 people. And not one of them stopped. I was just looked like one of those crazy people harassing people, and it was just a disaster. So I was like, "Well, fuck this! I'm never doing this again." So, talk me through it. Tell me how you do it.
It is hard. That's the hardest bit: is approaching people, and coming up with a concise way to ask somebody to stop, and a way that makes it sound like the person doesn't have to go out of their way. So it's not an inconvenience.
Yeah.
And also making it sound like it's not a big deal. Because if you say, "Oh, hey, excuse me, I've got a YouTube channel for English learners, and I basically want to interview you and then kind of explain the language that you use," it sounds like it's a bit too much. Whereas if you say it like it's not a big deal, you could just say, "Hey, do you mind if I ask you a couple of questions for my channel?" And then usually they'd say like, "Yeah, all right." And then to kind of solidify the deal and confirm they are willing to participate, I usually say, "What's your name?" and shake their hand. And then they're usually in. Yeah, okay. That's my take.
Yeah, no, I didn't even get past hello. I was like, oh, hello. And then they were gone.
How were you? What were you wearing? How were you dressed? Were you like naked or something?
I was wearing just normal clothes. I don't know, t-shirt, pair of jeans. I was very normal. There was just something about me that they didn't like.
Well, to be honest, like I like your look, but you know, you've got long hair and a beard, and I don't know, you got your Essex accent. You know, maybe people thought, oh, it's a kind of well-dressed homeless person. Maybe he's going to give me his whole spiel about how he ended up on the street, and he's going to ask me for money at the end of this. So maybe that's what people were thinking. I don't know.
I'm still going to take that as a compliment. You've just said that I look like a homeless person, but
a
well-dressed homeless person.
You could.
So
I mean, I've met people in like the town centre who there's one guy who doesn't look too dissimilar to you, and he walks around. He's a really nice guy, and he's quite presentable as well. But the only thing that makes him not so presentable is that he only wears one shoe. He walks around and he takes his sock off as well, just to kind of add to it. And he walks around in one bare foot.
Many of the people on the podcast actually always say that I always wear the same clothes, especially the same jumper. So maybe that's why people don't like me, because I'm just wearing the same jumper. Maybe it's time to finally buy a new jumper.
Maybe get a jumper, a nice coat. I think it's just the first ask. Also, have your camera. Did you have your camera, or were you?
Well, I had a phone. I'm not as professional. Professional. Just a phone.
Okay. Did you have the phone out, or was that still in your pocket?
No, I had that out. I think they were expecting me to say, "Oh, can I take a selfie with you?" or something.
Yeah, it looked like yeah. Also, where was that? In London?
I've tried it in London, here in Palermo. Always been a disaster. Yeah, always. Yeah, an international disaster.
You got to really stop them as well. Like, get in front of them. Otherwise, in London, they will just walk by you. They'll walk past. Like, get in the way and say, "Hey!" And they just really like accost them. Like, go right up to their face. Really get in their face, but with a smile on your face.
Okay. I will try that and let you know how that goes.
Yeah, but sorry. But if next time you're back in England, I'll go with you if you want, because I'd like to do more of those videos. So if you'd like to do them with me, then come, let me know.
Fantastic. That will be brilliant. Having a person that doesn't look like he is homeless with me, and hopefully that will work. Like that. You never know. I can just imagine you saying, "Oh, this is my homeless friend Martin, but don't worry, he's okay. Really, he only wears one sock, but he's actually all right."
He's just holding the camera. Don't worry, he's not going to be in shot.
You don't need to go near him, okay? Just stand a distance, 3 meters, okay, and he won't hurt you. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
I also saw another video you did recently with your mum.
Which
was
very recent. That was yesterday.
Oh wow, that's how much of a fan I am.
Wow.
Which was, and also it was a very good watch as well, though, because I want to take people behind the scenes. Was that not strange doing that with your mum? I recorded an episode with my she was 5 at the time, my 5-year-old niece, and that was embarrassing enough. So how was it, the dynamics with your mum? I can just imagine what it would be like with mine, because people don't realise when you switch on the mic or something changes. It's not your normal conversation.
I know what you mean. Yeah. And it was like that. It's more like for you, or for the presenter, the person who has invited a family member on the show. I think it's weird for them. So for me, I felt a bit nervous. I suddenly felt under pressure to deliver good content and to show my mum what I do. Like to show my mum that I feel comfortable in these situations. But the initial kind of anxieties of, this could be absolutely shit. What if we don't get any interesting language from this conversation? What if she has a terrible time? And then you get over it and you get into the conversation. So as I'm sure you did with your 5-year-old niece. How was that though? How did that work with your 5-year-old niece? That sounds really nice.
I think it was just around Christmas. We had a bit of a chat about Christmas and Father Christmas, all of the really important issues in life. It was quite a deep and meaningful conversation, as you can imagine. Yeah, I don't know what episode number it is. I lose count. It's too difficult. But it's on there somewhere.
What's the name of it? What, chatting with my niece a bit?
I think it's a conversation with a 5-year-old girl. So quite clear.
I actually think I saw that. Yeah. So
the difference of I was waiting for that. I actually think I was waiting for the word listened. And then I saw that. Like I saw you put it on Facebook. Obviously, I didn't listen to it. It was a load of shit. I didn't listen to it, but I saw it. Thanks.
No. I am actually. I want to say I'm a big fan of yours. I love what you're doing. I learned about your podcast from my student Marcelo. About a year ago. He's a great guy. He's Brazilian. He loves your podcast, and what he actually does is he listens to it, and because he wants to really challenge his listening skills, he increases the speed on the podcast.
Oh, wow!
So he turns the speed up a bit, and just to really exercise his listening skills. But since then, I've been recommending it to everyone because I've only listened to one full podcast, and it was about testicle friends, and I was cackling. I was cackling with laughter. So I love what you guys do, and I love the whole that's rock and roll English. You know, it's very. Me and Charlie say that's real. Oh, that's real English. Let's explain that. So I feel like it's just the same kind of thing. And I say to my students like, "What? Listen to this, not what. Don't watch it. Listen to it. It's just like what me and Charlie do, but more concise." And you can listen to it while you're on the move. So, I think it's amazing what you do.
Thanks, pal. The same with you. We can have like a cyber moment here, like a Skype hug if you want.
Let's lick the microphone sensually.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I want to get onto some personal stuff because a member of the Rock and Roll English family is also a student of yours, did one of your immersion courses. Actually, quickly tell us about your immersion courses. How do they work?
So, they are residential English courses where whereby I invite students of English, obviously, to come and live with me. So I started doing these courses with Charlie. We invite students to come and live with us and learn English with us. So we rent a nice big house. We do it down near Brighton, usually. And we do lessons in the morning, like a 3-hour lesson, which sounds like hell. But it's actually really fun. It's all about communication. It's not sitting around doing grammar. It's just, communication skills. We then take trips. We cook together. We play games together. We drink together in the evenings. It's brilliant. You're living in English and you're truly immersed in English, which is why we call them immersion courses. And it's brilliant. I love it. I got the idea from a YouTube channel called Lightspeed Spanish, who started doing them. I'm a Spanish learner, and I thought that's so cool. That's so cool. We could do that, and we could do it better. So that's how I got the idea for it.
Sounds great. Well, obviously I saw you were doing it, and I thought, I might try that. But then I just thought, that's a lot of organisation, isn't it? That's a lot of organisation.
It is, yeah, it is. But you get used to it, and it's kind of addictive as well. Like, when I finish a course, I feel like, what the hell do I do now? I feel instantly bored, because when you're on the course, you are busy all the time. You're always thinking, what are we doing next? There's no free time for the teacher or for it's lovely though, because it's like you're on holiday with the students, and you're on holiday with people who are doing something they're all passionate about. And when you've got a big group of people who are all passionate about learning English, it's a beautiful feeling. I love it. You should give it a go. If you ever do want to do it, tell me, and I'd give you all sorts of tips. I'm sure you'd really enjoy it.
Okay, yeah, sounds great. Thanks. On this personal stuff, so I asked our mutual friend some things about you, and one of the things he told me is you like singing, and especially with your dad. Is this right?
I do. Yeah. Yeah, especially my dad in the shower with my dad.
What's your favourite number you do together? So when I say your favourite number, I mean your favourite song. Like you and your dad's duet. What one? Like an Elton John kind of vibe?
Yeah, it's kind of like Elton John and Eminem. Yeah, he's Elton John, I'm Eminem. So my dad doesn't sing with me. He plays various instruments.
Okay.
But he's a violin player by trade.
Oh, wow.
By trade, so that's his instrument. So I do like singing. I like it, and my dad's always saying, let's play some tunes together. And this summer we did our first ever gig. We did a gig at a kind of housewarming. I mean, it wasn't a big gig, but we were invited to play, and we got paid 50 quid each. Same price as a voiceover.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it was, and actually that was pounds. So that was more than a voiceover
exactly.
gig.
Yeah, you have change. You have change after paying the voiceover.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, that is actually pretty interesting. The only singing experience I've got is being extremely drunk, karaoke kind of vibe. If you're asking, Elton John, "Are You Ready for Love?" is my favourite. That really gets the crowd involved. I normally, towards the end, I just sort of point the mic at them, and they say, "Are you ready? Are you ready for love?" Yes, I am.
Oh, yeah.
Are you ready? Are you ready for love? Yes, I am. Are you ready? Are you ready for love? Yes, I am.
Oh, that is a tune. That's an absolute banger. Absolute banger.
It is. Absolute banger. Yeah,
God.
Great song.
My God. For us, we do a lot of Latin tunes, so I like to sing in Spanish. One of my favourite is this. Let's see if you recognise this one.
I definitely won't. I'm
no,
not cultured.
you will.
This
you
is
will.
the problem.
You will recognise this. Dale a tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, que tu cuerpo es para darle alegría.
Okay, yeah.
Dale a tu cuerpo alegría Macarena.
Macarena.
Yes.
Dale a tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, que tu cuerpo pa' dar la alegría y cosas buenas. Dale a tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, Macarena.
Did you know the dance as well? Did you do the little dance?
Well, I normally get the crowd to dance. I say
Okay.
normally. I did one gig, but yeah, I don't dance and sing. I'm not the Spice Girls.
Sure, sure. Well, you've just sort of blown me out the water there. So blown me out the water, like made me look stupid. Completely won that competition of singing. I would drunkenly sing Elton John, "Are You Ready for Love?" and you're doing some kind of Spanish number.
Well, Macarena's not a great tune, is it? But it's just like it's good fun. It's great. It's a good fun.
Great
but
fun.
yeah, we do a lot of Manu Chao. I don't know if you heard of Manu Chao, but also like Otis Redding. You know, Dock of the Bay.
Oh yeah, that's a big tune.
Yeah, nice,
Big tune,
some nice tunes. Yeah, but it's good fun. It's good fun. What else has Manuel told you about me?
He mentioned that you like talking about farts and minges. Okay, so if people don't know what a minge is, it's a not particularly nice way to call a vagina. Okay, so I just thought, what exactly do you like to? I mean, farts and pooing. That's a big topic on Rock and Roll English.
Haven't you got an audio book of you sitting on the toilet?
Yeah. No, it's not just reading. Just so when you're on your phone, just get it out. That's the idea there. So you're sitting on the toilet. It's standard now, isn't it? You know, you go for a long poo and you think, well, I need to get my phone, otherwise I'll be bored shitless. What am I going to do?
Bored shitless. Never used better. That was really, that is rock
in fact,
and roll.
that was not even intended.
No,
that.
yeah.
So that's the vibe. But yeah, so I love
that.
poos. Love poos.
Poos are great. Yeah. Don't push too hard. Don't push too hard.
You don't want to have a heart attack on the toilet, do you?
You don't want a heart attack, and you don't want piles either. So yeah, don't push too hard, guys. Also, I've got a new stance or position for pooing now. I'm lucky to have a bath just in front of my shitter toilet. My toilet, in front of my toilet. And what I do now is I lift my legs up to kind of simulate a squatting position.
Oh, I'm with you there. I've got a little seat that I like rest my feet on. So I just put that under, then I rest my feet on there, and then you just go free. Just let it out.
That's good. Yeah, that's really good. Have you ever tried the kind of Indian expat living in the UK technique of standing and squatting on the actual seat? Yeah.
I've never tried that for fear of breaking the seat. Is generally the vibe. Yeah. It could be something to try in a bar. You know, when you're out and you really need to go, but you don't really want to sit down. I would be worried about missing the toilet as well.
That's my fear. Yeah, not breaking the seat so much, but shitting on the seat. Just a whole turd. Like, I don't want to see my turd on a seat. You know, it's fine seeing it in the basin of the toilet, but
yeah, sure. And just so people know, turd is another way for poo as well, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
I once edited a video. We were doing minimal pairs. Like turd and third. We were doing the t and th sounds, like trying to differentiate between them. And we pointed out that Irish people don't do that, but that British people do.
Okay.
And so I edited the video. Everything was done. It was looking great, in my opinion. And then I sent it to Charlie to say, it's done. Just have a look, see what you think, and then I'll upload it. And he said, I think you've spelt turd wrong. And I had to, and I'd put it in. There's like, you have to do overlays, and it's an absolute ball ache, real inconvenience having to do it. Sorry, go on. Do you want to rock and roll English that?
No, you explained it there. Real inconvenience, yeah.
Okay, I don't know whether I can say the rock and roll English, if I can explain it.
You can, but it's okay.
Okay, thanks. So I had to change these captions that I'd put over the video. About, 30 of them. I had to change the spelling of turd because I'd written it wrong. And I can't remember how it's spelled. Usually I'd write T-U-R-D.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Maybe I'd put T-E-R-D, and then I had to put T-U-R-D.
I also did one of the few times I made a video. I don't know why I decided to make a video, and I was showing the pronunciation of the word mountain, because most students say mountain. And I was saying how it's similar to mountain, and then I had like a little whiteboard of the word mountain, and in the video I was saying like, this is mountain, I'm Martin, and then I finished it, and then I realised on the whiteboard I'd spelt mountain wrong. But I actually just said, no, I'm putting it out. I don't want to go back and do that again. So I put just some comment of, yeah, the pronunciation's right, just ignore the spelling, okay?
It's such a tiny mistake, and obviously people would get it. People would probably look past that, I'm sure. But you feel like, I've got to get it right. So is that why you started the podcast? You thought, I'm not having that issue again.
Exactly, there was that, and it's just too much hassle, too much hard work. Because as I mentioned, that's why I admire you so much for all of that work, editing the videos. Even a podcast is difficult for me, and that's just audio. But so the thing that I want to finish on, again, our mutual friend told me that you love talking about embarrassing situations, and if there's one thing I love, it is embarrassing situations. So I thought you could just share one with us, a nice embarrassing situation.
Embarrassing situation. Well, my life is a series of embarrassing situations, really. I did a video, me and Charlie did a live broadcast about this, actually. It was the day after it happened to me. And so I was selling my laptop on eBay. And I'd got a good amount of money for it. I think someone had bid £800 for this laptop. I didn't expect to get much for it, so I was absolutely delighted. And the moment the successful bid went through, and the bidding window ended, I had a message from what I thought was the winning bidder saying, "Hey, I've changed my address. Please send the laptop here now, and not the address on my profile." And so I thought, no problem. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll send it out the next day. And I did that. And I went to the post office, sent it off. My money was in my account. Fantastic. And then a couple of days went by. I was in the kitchen, cooking some lovely spaghetti, listening to Marvin Gaye, having a sing along. It was lovely. I was in such a good mood. And then I went to my laptop and I had an email from the winning bidder saying, "I've checked the tracking number and it said that my parcel is in where was it? A place in Essex. I live in Newcastle. Why have you sent it to Essex?" And I was like, oh no! And then I realised that I'd had a message from someone else. Someone else had just kind of, bypassed eBay security and sent me a message and pretended to be the winning bidder. So I'd sent my laptop to this bastard. He got my laptop. I had been absolutely done, so completely deceived.
So you lost your laptop, and I imagine you had to give him his £800 back. So you actually,
I had to give him the £800 back, and I thought, oh my god, I can either laugh. No, I can't laugh. I could cry or laugh, and I thought, let's try and laugh about it. After sending lots of vicious messages to this absolute, see you next Tuesday.
Yeah,
and I never got my money back, but we made a video about it. So if anyone wants to watch that, then there is one. And we talk about some good languages. Good language, not languages, just good language to describe being deceived and conned.
Yeah, which also said there, see you next Tuesday, which we have said it before. I always apologise to my mum when we do say it, is the word cunt, which is a horrible word. The pretty much most offensive word in England. But if someone basically steals £800 from you, I think we can use it. Yeah,
and I think actually you need to know that this word, it's a great word. It's a great word. Like with your friends, I bet you use the word cunt. Like me and my friends, we call each other cunts all the time. I love it.
Yeah. It's just one of those words when you really need to know when to use it because, you know, you use that, you're at work and maybe your boss says something and you say, oh, shut up, you cunt. It's probably not the best idea.
No, just with close friends that you know
Close.
are comfortable using that word. Yeah. And you don't know until you've used it if they are comfortable with it. But yeah, it's a great word. My dad once, he's a violin teacher, and he was saying goodbye to his student.
Doesn't sound like the type of person that uses that word, a violin teacher.
No, exactly. He's not, right? But
Okay.
But so he said bye to his student. He was saying goodbye and seeing this person out of the house. And this person has lessons on Tuesday. So he he said to her, see you next Tuesday. And then I heard it from upstairs. I went, ah! And I was in fits of laughter. And I said, I was just laughing my head off. And he was like, why are you laughing? I was like, you said, see you next Tuesday. You called her a cunt. And then he just gave me this look of like complete, just disdain.
Yeah, I can imagine. That is real rock and roll vocabulary. That's one of those formal words, which is a bit too much for me. So if you could explain that would be great.
Yeah, just like hatred, really. Hatred and disapproval.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Looked at me with disdain, like a big frown on their face. You piece of shit.
Fantastic. Okay, well, thanks a lot for sharing all of this with us, Harry. Before you go, obviously, for people that don't know where to find you, tell us where we can find out more about you.
If you go on YouTube, you can search for Real English with Real Teachers, and you will see our channel. You can click the red subscribe button and then the bell so that you're notified about new videos. And you can also type in Google Harry Giles English lessons. It's actually just harrygiles.com, I think. That's where you can, if you want English lessons on Skype with me, you can do that. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Well, I will put links to all of that in the show notes. So thanks again for your time, Harry, and maybe see you next Tuesday.
I hope so. Thank you very much, Martin, and keep on rocking, baby.
Forever. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Okay, so that was me and Harry speaking about everything and nothing at the same time. So let's have a look at some of that rock and roll vocabulary. At the beginning, when Harry very rudely stole one of my questions when he said where he had met Harry, and then obviously that was the next on my list. He asked me, is that the plan out of the window now, the plan of the interview? So if you say that, out of the window, it means it's gone. Basically, you have to throw it out of the window and think of something new, which is exactly what I had to do. I had to think of some new questions because that was the plan out of the window. He then was talking, we were then talking about the American guy on the introduction of the podcast, and Harry described it as a bit cheesy. So cheesy is a lovely word, something that's a bit too much, really. Generally something that maybe is a bit like low quality, which could be true, even though I did pay €50 for that, €50. Something that's a bit too much as well. If you say to your girlfriend, I love you so much, your eyes remind me of flowers that talk to my heart, that's a bit like, bleh. It's a bit cheesy. I described Charlie as a good Samaritan for doing volunteer work in Cambodia. So a good Samaritan is just a good person. And then he said that he was paid a pittance. So if you are paid a pittance, it means really not very much. Then he was telling us about the first video that they made for YouTube. He said they made a video, chopped it up and put it on YouTube. So if you chop something up, generally you chop up vegetables when you cut them, really like that was me chopping vegetables. Well, it was actually me hitting my hand on the desk, but just to give you an idea. So we can also use this for videos. You can chop up videos. You can cut them, let's say. And then he said that that they made the videos just to make ends meet. So if you make ends meet, you basically make enough money just to survive. I then asked Harry to talk me through how he makes the video. So if you ask someone, talk me through it, tell me every step of the video. And then Harry used some real rock and roll vocabulary, some rock and roll formal vocabulary, when he said when you have to get the people to make the videos, you have to get in front of them and really accost them, which is a very nice word actually, which means to basically approach someone almost in an aggressive way, but not actually aggressive, but approach them in a strong way, let's say. Then we were talking about songs, and I said to Harry, what's your favourite number? So your favourite song to sing, basically. It's not always used. You can't always substitute song and number. But in this situation, in this context, yes. Harry also said that he did a gig at a housewarming. So a gig is like a concert. And a housewarming is when you have a party to say hello to your new house, if that makes sense. That's really simple words. So you move into a new house and you have a party so people can see the house. The name of that party is a house warming. Then when we were talking about Elton John, Harry described it as an absolute banger. So a brilliant song, an absolute banger. And then Harry then chose his song of the Macarena. I tried to make a Spanish accent there. I'm not sure how good that was. And he obviously sang something in Spanish. And I said, you've blown me out of the water. So you've completely won that competition, let's say. I'm not sure if it was a real competition of who is the best singer. But if it was, Harry definitely won that. We had the word minges as well, which is a very informal way, not a very nice way to describe a vagina. And then we had a lovely term when I said I would be bored shitless on the toilet without a phone. So to be bored shitless is really bored. Just memorize that term as it is. I'm bored shitless. Then we had the word turd, which is another way to describe a poo. Generally, as I said, actually I recorded a video with Harry. And I said on the video, a turd is a solid poo, okay? That's the difference between a runny poo and a strong, solid one. And we had the word ball ache of when Harry was telling us about doing the overlays on videos and said it's a ball ache. So it's a real inconvenience, I think is the way he described it, which is a perfect way to describe it. He also said that he had been absolutely done with the story about the computer. So if you get done, it's when someone basically makes you look like a bit of an idiot, which unfortunately happened to Harry. And not only that, he lost £800. So commiserations. Then we had the term see you next Tuesday, which, remember, is a funny way to say the word cunt. Because if you think how that word is spelt, C-U-N-T, see you next Tuesday, it works. And he said that his dad gave him a look of disdain. So a look of disdain, a look of just hatred, of like, what are you talking about? Anyway, remember, all of this vocabulary is on the website, rockandrollenglish.com, episode 176. And there is also the transcript. So go and find that. Have a great week, everyone. I will see you next Monday. But in the meantime, just keep on rocking, baby.
Thanks so much for listening to Rock and Roll English. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit rockandrollenglish.com and facebook.com/rockandrollenglish. We'll catch you next time.